Have you ever met someone who just seems smarter than everyone else? Not louder, not showing off, not posting motivational quotes every day, but somehow they always understand things faster. They make better decisions. They ask better questions. And the crazy part? Nobody can quite explain why. Look, they don't have a higher IQ than everyone else. They didn't read 1,000 books a year. They're not waking up at 4 a.m. screaming about grind mode. Yet over time, they become 10 times more capable than the average person. Here's the thing, the difference isn't talent. The difference is invisible habits. Habits so small that most people overlook them, but stacked together, they quietly rewire how your brain works. And once you see them, you'll start noticing why some people keep leveling up while everyone else stays stuck. I spend way too much time thinking about why some people grow insanely fast while others stay mentally stuck for years. If you're someone who wants to become smarter, more disciplined, and more capable, but feels like your progress is slower than it should be, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, we're breaking down 9 invisible habits that make someone 10 times smarter. And here's what most people don't realize. Intelligence isn't just about how much you know. It's about how your brain processes the world. Psychologists from the American Psychological Association have repeatedly found that daily cognitive habits influence long-term intelligence development more than raw IQ scores. In simple words, your brain becomes smarter based on what you repeatedly do with it. So let's talk about the habits that quietly upgrade your brain. Habit 1. Smart people pause before responding. Most people react instantly. Someone says something, and boom, immediate opinion, immediate judgment, immediate response. But here's the thing, the smartest people you know have a strange habit. They pause, not because they're slow, but because they're processing. A study from Princeton University found that people who delay responses by even 3 to 5 seconds show significantly higher reasoning accuracy. That tiny pause gives the brain time to engage the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking. Impulsive reactions come from the amygdala, which is emotional. Logical responses come from the prefrontal cortex. And this is where it gets really interesting. That pause is basically switching your brain from emotional mode to intelligent mode. Now you might be thinking, okay, but it's just a few seconds. Exactly. But multiplied across thousands of daily decisions, it changes everything. Habit 2. They ask why, more than others. Kids ask why constantly. Adults stop, which is strange, because curiosity is literally how intelligence grows. A famous study by Harvard University found that curiosity increases learning retention by nearly 30%. Why? Because curiosity activates the brain's dopamine system, and dopamine improves memory formation. Here's a simple example. Person A reads a fact. Person B asks, why does that happen? Why does it work like that? What would happen if the opposite was true? Guess who learns deeper? Exactly. Smart people don't just collect information, they interrogate information. Habit 3. They spend time thinking alone. Look, this one might sound boring, but it's powerful. Most people consume information 24/7. TikTok, YouTube, podcasts, music, constant input. But here's what most people don't realize. Your brain needs empty space to process ideas. Research from Stanford University shows that mind-wandering activates the brain's default mode network, which is responsible for creativity and insight. In other words, thinking happens when you're not distracted. That's why your best ideas appear in the shower, or while walking, or during quiet moments. Smart people protect these thinking windows. Habit 4. They write down their thoughts. This is a big one because writing forces your brain to organize ideas logically. A study from University of California, Los Angeles found that writing about concepts improves conceptual understanding by up to 40%. Why? Because vague thoughts become structured reasoning. When you write something down, your brain suddenly realizes, wait, this doesn't actually make sense. And that correction process is how intelligence grows. This is why many brilliant thinkers journal constantly, including Leonardo da Vinci. His notebooks contain over 7,000 pages of observations and ideas, not because he knew everything, but because he was thinking on paper. Habit 5. They challenge their own beliefs. Here's something uncomfortable. Most people aren't searching for truth. They're searching for confirmation. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. It means your brain automatically looks for information that supports what you already believe. Smart people fight this instinct. They ask, what if I'm wrong? Now, that sounds simple, but cognitively, it's powerful. Because questioning your own beliefs forces the brain to examine multiple perspectives simultaneously, which dramatically improves reasoning ability. Habit 6. They explain things to others. Look, if you can't explain something simply, you probably don't understand it. This idea was famously used by Richard Feynman. His rule was simple. If you want to truly understand something, explain it in simple language, because teaching forces your brain to simplify complexity, which reveals gaps in your knowledge, and every time you fill those gaps, your understanding multiplies. Habit 7. They read slowly, not quickly. Speed reading is popular. But here's the truth. Fast reading often creates shallow understanding. Deep thinkers read slower, but better. Research from University of Sussex found that slow reading improves comprehension by over 50%. Why? Because the brain has time to connect ideas, reflect question assumptions. Smart people aren't trying to finish books. They're trying to absorb ideas. Habit 8. They change their mind. Now this one surprises people. We think intelligence means being right all the time. But actually, it means updating your beliefs quickly when new evidence appears. This concept is called cognitive flexibility. Studies from MIT show that people with high cognitive flexibility are significantly better at problem solving and learning new skills. In other words, smart people aren't stubborn, they're adaptable. Habit 9. They protect their attention. Here's the brutal truth. Your attention is your mental currency. Every time you scroll mindlessly, you're training your brain to avoid deep thinking. And modern apps are designed to exploit this. Former engineers from Google and Facebook have openly explained how algorithms are built to maximize attention capture, which means the smartest people do something very intentional. They protect their focus. Because focus is what allows the brain to build complex ideas. So here's the big takeaway. Becoming smarter isn't about genius breakthroughs. It's about small mental habits repeated daily. Pausing before reacting, asking why, thinking alone, writing ideas, questioning beliefs, explaining concepts, reading deeply, updating opinions, protecting attention. None of these habits look impressive. That's why nobody notices them. But over time, they compound. And this is where the mathematics of growth becomes powerful. Improve your thinking just 1% every day. And within a few years, your brain becomes something completely different. Look, the world doesn't reward people who consume the most information. It rewards people who think better than everyone else. And the best part? You don't need a higher IQ. You just need better habits. Start with one habit today. Just one. And let it compound. Because the smartest people you admire didn't become that way overnight. They simply train their minds a little better every day. If this video helped change how you think about intelligence, make sure you hit subscribe. Because on this channel, we break down the psychology, discipline, and habits that separate the top 1% from everyone else. And if you want to start becoming 10 times sharper, start it today.